This is the brightest 7-inch monitor I've ever used. I love it, directors love it, and you probably will. It's bright enough for harsh sunlight without a sunshade and still light enough for run and gun use. It's the Osee G7 Pro. If you shoot anything outdoors or you're just tired of squinting at your camera screen, a monitor like this can make your life way easier. I've been using the Osee G7 Pro for a bit now, and I'll walk you through the real stuff you need to know. The build, brightness, monitoring tools, camera control, what I liked, what annoyed me, and a few scenarios where this monitor saved the shot or slowed me down. The Osee G7 Pro is a 7-inch full HD film monitor that supports HDMI and SDI. It lets you load custom LUTs through an SD card, and it includes a touchscreen interface that feels fast and easy to use. It also has USB-C camera control for certain camera models, which can save you when your camera is rigged or on a gimbal. In short, this monitor is built to make your filmmaking easier, giving you better tools for exposure, focusing, and framing than your camera screen in almost any shooting situation. Now to the build design and what's in this box. This monitor feels solid in hand without feeling too heavy. It looks like it was designed considering people who rig their cameras regularly. It offers HDMI in and out, SDI in and out, USB-C port for camera control, and full-size SD card slot for LUTs. There are mounting points only at the top and bottom of the monitor, and the back is where you find a Sony NPF battery slot, DC power port, and a power on and off button, which is different style to the many other monitors I've used in the past. In fact, there are no physical or custom buttons on the sides of the monitor, but you find an SD card slot and a 3.5mm headphone jack. I actually like that this packaging is rectangular and flat. Inside you get documentation, the monitor itself, a DC to D-tap cable which is rare, USB-C cable, a horseshoe adapter, Osee calls it a Snell gimbal, a hex tool, and a plastic cover for the DC port. Setting up the G7 Pro is simple. You can power it on with the NPF battery, USB-C, PD, or a D-tap connection, so there is more than enough ways depending on your setup or needs. The menu system is different from every monitor I've used before, and it took me a moment to get used to it, but it's clean and easy to navigate. And once you do, you can turn on exposure tools such as false color and waveform, focus tools like peaking and magnification, and frame-related tools including anamorphic discrete and safe area markers. One thing I appreciate is the speed of the interface. The touchscreen responds quickly, tool switching feels instant, and you can customize your own pages so your most used tools are always one tap away. Just to show you, to increase or decrease the brightness of the monitor, on the far left, you just scroll up and down. On the right side, extreme right, you have to be very close to the edge. If I scroll up and down, I'm increasing and decreasing the volume, which you'll be monitoring through the 3.5mm headphone jack. I'll just reduce it to 0. Once again, I'll increase and decrease the brightness level. So that's at 10. That's the highest brightness. That should be 3000 nit. And to reduce it, I just swipe that. You can see how responsive it is. And if I click back, there's an icon here. If I click back, you clear the screen of everything. And if I click again, it comes on. So you can see how that was so responsive. And I don't have a HDMI or any cable connected to the monitor. But one thing I noticed is that if I click here to clear the screen, I cannot bring up back the icons from anywhere except I click around here. I wished I could do that around here. Like if I click back, I wish I could just swipe up or tap here to bring on the icons again, but I can't do that except I'm around there, which is something I found weird with this monitor. Camera control works very well, and as earlier mentioned, this is dependent on your camera and you'll be required to connect the monitor to your camera using a USB-C cable included. So make sure your camera is on the list. So now I have my S1 II connected to the monitor using the HDMI and a USB-C to C cable. This is not the one that came in the packet, but we'll just manage this. And I can, if you notice, if I click down here, you can see that the icon has come up. That's the icon to the far left, which probably be your far right. That icon just right there. And if I tap it to bring up some more icons on the side, extreme right, left side of the monitor. Well, yeah, my right for now. And I can click to start and stop recording. If I hit the record button, you see the red thing on the display showing me that I'm recording, and I'll press again to stop, and you see how responsive that was. And if I want to change the ISO, I can tap on ISO. Right now my ISO is set to auto on the monitor, and I can change it to 100. I can take it high as much as I want. I am now at 1000 ISO or 10,000 ISO, and I can drop down again. I'll just come down to auto, and then I can come out from ISO, and you see the white balance is grayed out. I cannot adjust it. For me to adjust that, I have to set my white balance to manual on the camera. So I'll click on white balance here and take my white balance to the manual white balance settings, and you can see the white balance icon has been activated. And if I click white balance, I can adjust my white balance, and I'll come out with white balance. And now I can't adjust my shutter because I'm in shutter angle. To fix that, I have to go into my camera menu and set it to SEC/ISO. And then if I come out of that, if I click the icon again, you can see I can adjust my shutter. It's currently at 1/250, and I can bring it down to the right shutter, which would be 1/50. Also, same thing for my aperture. I can click on the aperture icon and then change. It was previously at 1.4, f1.4. I can take it up to, like, say f2.0, f2.1. So that's it for camera control. At the top of the screen, starting from the left, will be the connection being used between your camera and your monitor. And if I look, I can see that I'm connected via HDMI, and it's taking an input of 2160p, which is 4K 23.98. Then it shows that I'm viewing it at Rec 709 color 2.4, and I'm using my user set 1, and it shows my battery level. I'm using the smallest Sony MPF battery, so it's already at about 50%, 45% of batteries remaining. At the bottom from the left, I already talked about this icon, which gives you camera control. You have the back icon. I'll tap that to bring that back on, which clears the screen. You also have icons to show the middle, the crosshair thing. If I click there, I can activate and deactivate that. And this changes the anamorphic squeeze. I'll tap that to turn that off. And then I can enable or disable my frame guides. Currently it's at 9:16 activated. If I tap that, I turn it off, but I also have one on the camera. So if I turn the camera's one off and I tap that, it brings the 9:16. And also there's a false color, which I'll tap again to deactivate, and there's a focus peaking. I'll tap again to deactivate, and there's the one that brings up the 3 different exposure tools: vector scope, histogram, and the RGB. But there's also the audio levels. I'll tap again to deactivate that, and then I can activate or deactivate my custom LUTs, but there are no custom LUT. Oh, there's a custom LUT, but I can activate or deactivate that if I want. And then I can bring in more icons at the bottom by using this icon here, which helps me choose the things I want to have as my quick function menu. I don't want to add anything, I'll just close. But I can also change what I have here at the bottom. If I want to remove the anamorphic squeeze, I'll press and hold, and it asks me delete tool. I'll say no, I don't want to delete, I'll cancel. If I want to delete, I'll click confirm. But I can also access the menus or the different settings in the quick function icons I have here. If I press and swipe up, I can change my cross hairstyles. If I go to the anamorphic squeeze and swipe up, or just tap there because I already activated the extra settings, you can see my different ratios. Currently it's at 1.5x. I can tap to come out of, well, not come out of that. I can tap to go to my crosshair, my custom ratios. If I want to come out of there, I'll swipe down, or just click back. I forgot that. Just click back to come out of it, and I click back again to clear the whole screen. So I can see my info display from my camera. Now, if I were to go further right, I'll just tap again to bring that up. Further right is the menu settings, and then the monitor settings. If I click there, it brings up the monitor settings where I can change and choose what I want to do, reset the monitor, Here are the info display, or which shows me the firmware version of the monitor in case I'm not using the correct one. There's color, temperature, there's user lot where you can load your lots. Personally for me, I like to have the info display coming from my camera, but it's good to know that these are possible. Most older model cameras don't have this many display function, so you're covered if you have one without that. Now, apart from the camera controllability of this monitor, the brightness is the headline feature here. The monitor reaches roughly 3000 nits, and the difference is immediately noticeable when shooting outdoors. Even in direct sunlight, I can clearly see the frame without having to create a shade with my hand. The image stays very visible, the colors stay readable, and reflections are manageable on this monitor. For anyone who shoots outside a lot, this here is a huge advantage. For comparison's sake, the second brightest monitor in my arsenal is the Blackmagic Video 5-inch 12G HDR, but this monitor serves a lot of power. I have a large Sony MPF battery at the back of the monitor, and I have this monitor at the brightest level. I don't know if you can see. Well, this has just gone to sleep. If I click here, it's at 100% brightness, and you can see, let me just bring this back on, and if you look here, you can see my battery is almost dying. I'll just tap there to clear the screen. So this monitor sucks a lot of battery. This is currently at 20% brightness, and I'll just swipe up just to show you the differences, or so you can see how it compares with this monitor. Because this battery is almost dying, I'll just press to hold to power it off and take it out of here. There's more than enough tools to dial your exposure on this monitor, and they are reliable and easy to read. The force color display part is the most I have seen on any monitor I have ever used. The most I have seen is 2 different styles. This one has 3. You have spectrum style, custom styles, and follow camera style. And depending on which style you use, you have settings you can change. I'll show you. So I'll click here to bring it up, and I'll go to force color. And if I tap, I'll just swipe up there. I'm currently in the follow camera style. And if I click left, I go to custom style and bring it back on. If I click left again, that's spectrum style, and you can change. There are most things you can change under every setting, well, depending on the setting you are in. And then there's also waveform, zebra, vector scope, histogram, and the ability to display 3 exposure tools at the same time, as well as with the audio meter. You're able to also change the focus picking colors between red, green, and blue, as well as its sensitivity, and also change the background to black and white for more precise focus pulling accuracy. So if I click on the focus picking, I'll turn off the false color settings. I'll swipe up. You can see there's red color, there is white, there is blue, and there is green. And if I go to white, I can change the background color to black and white background, or leave it in color. I'll just turn off, camera keeps going to sleep. I'll just turn off the picking so it goes back normal. Click back here and click back again to clear the screen. For those of you who like to use your monitors with custom LUTs, you have 10 custom LUT slots for your use. And as usual, swiping up allows you the ability to change your LUT and also the intensity of the chosen LUT. One more thing I like about this monitor is that it's hot swappable. So I have a Sony MPF battery connected, and I can plug in the DC. Well, before that, over there, it shows I'm powering it using the battery, and I'll plug in the DC cable, and it switches to the DC. And if I want, I can disconnect the cable, and it switches to the Sony MPF battery. I use the G7 Pro in different scenarios, and I never had a problem. Initially, as I mentioned, it was difficult adjusting to the controls as I had never used an Osee-Tech monitor in the past. But after a few shoots, I got used to navigating on this monitor. And honestly, I have used so many kinds of different monitors, and this ranks up there in terms of responsiveness and control. Anyone who complains about this monitor has refused to adjust. It's like switching camera models after a long time and expecting that every brand's menu system should be the same. See, my camera keeps going to sleep. So who is this monitor for and should you buy it? From my experience, having used a 1200, 2000 and even a 2500 monitor, this is the one I have been most confident with when it comes to using it in very bright sunlight without having any issues, especially battery drain. If you do a lot of outdoor filming and don't like the stress of having to rig up a sun hood, then you are good with this monitor. It is lighter in weight than my Blackmagic video assist, although there is no internal recording and I'm not chewing through numerous batteries. It is a future-proof film gear with pro-level exposure and focus tools. If you shoot log footage, the log preview alone is worth it. After using this monitor in a bunch of shoots, the Osee G7 Pro feels like a monitor built for people who actually go out and film. It isn't perfect, but the brightness and the tool set make it something I reach for more often than I expected. Thanks for watching. I've left it in the description so you can check it if you want to pick one out for yourself. Please don't forget to leave a like to help this video and subscribe for more content like this. It's your filmmaker. I'll see you in the next one. God bless and peace.